and this is the Sweet Tea No Shade
Knitting
podcast
of knitting.
We don't have sweet tea. Well, you have tea. We don't have.
You got wine,
and this is a dry wine.
To be fair, it's the
all
evening.
Tea, all shade. It is the evening. So this is sad. This is our Saturday night.
Oh my god, we're so cool.
We are so awesome. So
Saturday night of Halloween. Are we going to a costume party? No. Are we going out?
We did.
No.
We did. We should probably show pictures of that too.
We
so
probably
our friends
should.
Matt and Jeffrey got married a few months ago.
Right, and they had their reception because Matt is big on Halloween, and so for their reception they had a costume party. So we went in costumes. So that was kind of our Halloween.
Yes.
And we rented costumes, and it was really fun.
Yes, it was a lot of fun. We'll insert pictures, but yeah, we won't go into the whole story about getting the costumes. They were rented from a local theater, it's a big regional theater. I don't know how to explain, it's a good theater, it's really big.
It's the regional theater.
Yeah, so their selection was unbelievable, but
yeah.
Okay, so it's snowing here already. For those of you who are in other parts of the world, we're in Minneapolis, Minnesota. Which is a state that borders Canada.
Yes.
For people who don't know.
And it snowed all day Friday.
It snowed all day Friday.
It was really pretty.
And it doesn't normally... we might get flurries, but it doesn't normally snow. And it didn't... you can still see the grass, and it didn't stick to the street or anything like that, but in, shady areas, we've got some snow kind of still on the ground. But a little strange for this early, but... it's Minnesota.
Right.
Or we have 6 months of winter. But that's why we love it. So, should we just get started on our knitting content? We've got a lot to talk about.
Yeah, we've been meaning to this podcast for about 3 weeks.
Yeah. Well, I was looking at our history, and we tend to do one about one a month.
Mm-hmm.
And I would like to do more often. It's really nice. People online have been saying, you should do them more often. And I would love to do that, but we were at the Stephen B. Men's Knit Night, and we were talking about that, and it's you've got to knit stuff to be able to show it. Which, we've been extremely busy with work and stuff going on in our personal life. I feel like fall, for some reason, is that way for everybody.
Mm-hmm.
neither of us are in school or have children, but it's still
Well, I think it's the mad rush to get everything done before the holidays start, which are about to start.
That wine.
Which one is it? The Flying Cloud?
Yeah. I just opened it yesterday, but I'm sorry, guys. I'm distracted because the wine is not particularly good.
Oh, no.
I remember it being fine last night. So, anyway.
Maybe it just doesn't oxidize well.
Right. So, so we have a lot to talk about. One of the big things that we want to talk about is we went to the Knitting with Friends. Knitting with Friends or Knitting for Fun? Knitting with Friends. Knitting for Fun is the big one that the grocery girls went to in Vancouver. But Knitting with Friends retreat. And so we're going to cover a lot about that. But before we do that, we're going to talk about a lot of our normal stuff. Or stuff that everybody talks about in a knitting podcast. So we have, between the two of us, we have one finished object this week.
I have an almost finished object.
Or this week. I should say this episode because it's been 4 weeks since we've done an episode. You have what? An almost finished object. Yes, you do have an almost finished object. So
we should do the finished object.
Yes. So I finally finished my first shawl. It was my first shawl and my first lace thing that involved lace. And it's a gift for a friend of mine, and I'm going to mail it to her. I wanted to show it on the podcast. It's the Buy It Shawl by Carrie Westerman. And it was my first garment, too, that I really washed and blocked. Mm-hmm. And it went from 4.5 or 5 feet at the widest point to 7 feet at the widest part.
It was ridiculous.
And that people talk about how yarn, and things change when they're washed and blocked and all that kind of stuff, and it is amazing. So this is the shawl, and I'm gonna unfold it here and.
Right. We actually bought special knitting blocks for it.
Well, we didn't own knitting blocks.
Yeah, and so we didn't.
So if you could hold that.
Yeah.
So this is I'm holding it up in front of my face so I can't see now.
It's like holding a ginormous, like when you see like people with like who they found an anaconda in the wild, you have to hold it up like that because it's so big.
Yeah, and I'm not going to try it on because I don't know how to wear shawls, and I don't plan to ever wear this shawl. But the lace turned out amazing, and it's everything about this is so drapey, which is how a shawl should be, and it turned out amazingly. And the yarn's really special yarn because it's the red yarn is the Mana Still Uruguay in the autumn colorway, and they're silk blends. So I know it's got a lot of silk in it, and I don't have the blend information in front of me. And then the gold is the I wrote it down, Madeline Tosh Merino Light Liquid Gold, which just went perfectly, with the red. But
you should talk about binding off too.
I was going to talk about the binding off. So so the lace turned out great. Oh, and I don't remember if I talked about this, where I was at the last podcast we did, but I really struggled with the lace because I don't know how to read lace yet. I mean, I got a lot better having, doing this project, but I didn't know how to read lace, and I just really struggled because I just would get off and get off and get off, and I'd have to tink back, and then I got sick of tinking back or trying to fix 200 and some stitches. So anyway, the lace was so at one point there, at the beginning, between the transition from this grid section with the red into the lace, there's a row. It's a pearl knit pearl, 3 rows. So I actually had to go back and pick up all the knit stitches in between the 2 pearl rows and start over. And I mean, I just was going. And so then so actually it was you guys who really helped me, and my friend Sonia too, to put a stitch marker in between each of the repeats. So luckily, it was a chart, and luckily the repeat of the lace, and maybe this is common in all lace patterns, but the repeat of the lace was always 10 stitches for each row. Now the 10 stitches varied, obviously, but it was always a 10 stitch repeat. And so when you've got between 200 and 300 stitches at the longest part, you don't want to make a mistake. So I put the stitch markers at each repeat, and that fixed it. Because as soon as I got to a point in the thing where I was like, wait a second, I have one too many stitches or whatever, I knew right away when I'd made a mistake. So I was able to go tink back 10 stitches instead of 250. So the other thing about John was mentioning the binding off. So I have only ever done I don't know what it's called, but it's like a regular bind off where you knit and then you
pull them through,
pull it over or whatever. This was I think it's called a Picot Bind Off, and so I don't know if you're going to be able to see these. I'll probably do some close-up pictures, maybe. I don't know. I've got some pictures already that I can. But there you go. You can kind of see it there. It's Picot Bind Off. It's got little bumps, and so what I watched a YouTube video, or I read, and it talked about the fact that there's different types of Picot Bind Offs and different formulas. But basically, this one was you cast on 2, and then bind off 4, and then cast on 2, and then bind off 4. And the cast on is like I forget what they call it.
It's a cable cast on.
Is it where you stick it between 2 stitches and you? Okay. So cable cast on 2 and then bind off 4, and so that's what creates the little bumps. And what was funny was, I was like, "Yay, I get to bind off! It's gonna take me like 5 minutes to bind off, and then I'm gonna be done." And it took 2 days to do the cast.
Because you keep adding to like what?
Because you keep adding.
So what was the final number of stitches at the end? Like 5 million?
No, it was close to 300.
Right, and so you're actually adding 2 extra stitches every 6th stitch. So your bind off was probably like 450 stitches, if not
Yes.
more. I'm not good at math, but
Yes. So that wine is awful.
oh no,
Yuck.
that's so
I'm
weird.
not gonna drink it anymore. Yeah. So anyway, so yeah, I couldn't be happier with it.
It's beautiful.
I took it to work and people were just like, "Oh my god," freaking out. My friend Sonia, she's like, "I want to keep it. Can I just keep it?"
Right.
So I'm gonna mail it. I'm gonna go to. We have different stores in town, different stationery stores and places like that. I'm gonna go and get like a nice box or something to put it in, and maybe wrap it up with a ribbon or something like that. And
what I think is amazing about it is, it looks like, you know, you're struggling when we first did about the different like yarn weight and stuff like that, and whether it would go together and stuff like that. It's just, I mean, it looks like they were made for each other.
Yeah. Yeah, and what's funny is I saw on Ravelry, I saw someone did the Buy It shawl, and the combination of colors I liked.
Mm-hmm.
In that one, I don't know if this is called variegated, but it's like it's not a solid color. It's kind of like I think the one that I saw, and I talked about this for one of our earlier episodes, but the one that I really liked, it was like oh gosh, my vocabulary's not with me today. It's like where it's one color and it fades to another, fades to another, fades to another. And then a solid for the grit for what I used as the gold. This is not really that. This is more of a variegated with the gold solid color.
Right.
But what was funny, so that was kind of what I used for the inspiration for the color combination. But what was funny was that I went on to Ravelry later, and somebody else used almost an identical color combination to this. So I really like it. So Jessie from I wrote all her information down because I don't want to say it wrong because I always mix up what her Ravelry name is from her Etsy shop and all that. But she's the Knit Up and Dye podcast, and she's dyemonkeyyardens.com. And so she's also doing this pattern. And so she's got, I think it's like a brown, variegated brown and cream for where I use red, and then she's using white for the lace and the grid. So I'm excited to see what hers looks like. So one thing, I wanted to mention someone who commented on Ravelry on my project page. And she's just complimented the shawl, but her Mary in Michigan, her Ravelry name is Will Knit for Donuts. So I really liked her Ravelry name. So I'm actually gonna set this to the side.
It's so pretty.
Yes, I feel very accomplished. And so now, because of my friend's health and everything, and wanting to get it to her, I have been knitting almost monogamously on that, and so now it kind of frees up some time to work on some other stuff.
Yeah, it's super cool.
Okay, so let's talk about works in progress. Would you like to start?
Yes. Oh my god. So this is the most fun I've had knitting something ever. So what this is, you can't really see it.
Well, I'll put in
Yeah.
pictures or something.
So this is a little jump forward to the retreat. So we were at the Fuzzy Goat in Thomasville, Georgia, and I needed a project bag real bad, and
we only have 5,000.
right, because I didn't have enough. So they had these project bags, and I wasn't really paying attention to them, but they look like this. And so I was like, oh, it's just a project bag with a unicorn on it. I have to have it. Not realizing that it's actually a kit where you make your own mythical friend. So it's a kit where you basically make a taxidermy... It's so ridiculous. Knit a taxidermy head of a mythical creature. So they had dinosaurs... They had other stuff, but I got the unicorn. And so, oh my god, it's been so much fun.
So they're from the UK.
Mm-hmm.
Louise Walker is the woman's name. Sincerely
Louise.
Yeah. She's
this
on
is
Ravelry, Instagram.
yeah. This has been just so. I mean, we've talked about this before. Like having a fast project and a slow project is very fun. This was a fast project. So number one, it was knitted on bulky yarn. So here is the yarn, like super bulky.
I'll hold the yarn for you.
Knit on like I think with 9s or 13s. I can't remember. 9s or
Gray. Do you have any gray left? Just
no. The gray is all done.
Oh, okay.
So, but yeah, it was super fun, and so it's not done yet, but
so it's an almost finished.
It's an almost finished object. So here is the unicorn head. Ah! It's so silly. Here is the unicorn horn.
Oh my god.
It's so funny. And here are the unicorn ears. So can you just put the
the horn.
horn up? So.
And what color are you gonna do the hair?
Pink. The hair's gonna be pink, and I'm gonna put some blue in it too. And there's eyes, and there's nostrils, and oh my god.
Down here.
Yeah. So it's gonna be, and then there is a thing you mount it on, and then we're gonna put it on the wall.
All this comes in the kit too.
I know.
So
anyway, it was like super fast. I had so much fun doing it. My first stuffed object.
oh yeah, I see what you mean.
Yeah.
Like a teddy bear.
Like a teddy bear, something like that. And God, it was just so much fun to do.
Well, and what it's inspired me to do, because I was like, where the hell are we going to hang this unicorn head?
So number one, it's a lot bigger than I thought it would be. And I don't know if that's because I'm a loose knitter.
Well, once it's up on the wall...
Right, it's huge!
So let's see here. So the widest dimension is 54 centimeters, which... We don't use centimeters in the United States so much. So if that's divided by 2.54, so 2.5, 54 divided by 2.5, can we do this?
What do you mean?
It's like, well, that's 54 centimeters. So if you divide that in half, that's 20, 25, 26, 27, and then you just add a little bit. So it'd be like 30 inches. So...
What do you mean?
Finished size. The largest measurement is 54 centimeters, which is
how long it is.
I know, but you're saying it was too big, and I'm saying I don't think so.
So you think this is 34? No, you're right. So that's 20. That should be. We'll divide by.
Well, and if you used up all the gray yarn, then you did it. If you did it too big, if your gauge was too loose, you would have run out of gray yarn.
Yeah, that's true. I came close to running out of gray yarn.
Yeah.
So
anyway, they had dinosaurs and
they had dinosaurs. Let's see what else they have. They see what they have.
I don't think they say what they have, do they?
No, they don't. But I mean, good lord, it's just ridiculous.
Oh, and I forgot to finish my thought. So we decided what we're gonna do. I look like a miniature person. I need to sit forward or something. I was like, well, we could hang it in because we have 2 spare bedrooms in our house, and one of them I used to work from home and I used it as my home office. Well, they got rid of the ability to work from home at my job, and so I was like, John, we should just convert that room into our knitting den. Some people have a man cave, we have a man knitting den. And we could hang it on the wall there.
Yes.
So we're talking about doing that, like putting a love seat in there. And we only have one TV in our house, which is in the room we're in now on the other side of the room. And
that way you can watch your stories or your podcasts.
Watch my podcast. We can move this TV up to that room and get a different TV for down here. But anywho, yeah. So... Yeah, have you stuffed the ears yet?
The ears don't get stuffed.
Oh, okay.
Other things. First color work.
Oh yeah, that's
First time to color work. And then also, it was also fun because it was a lot of, Well,
not only was it his first color work, but he couldn't tell that it was color work.
That's not true. I just...
John's a little colorblind.
I know.
Just a little bit, though.
This, Scott assures me this is a vivid pink against a gray.
Well, I didn't say it was vivid. I said
right.
that it's definitely a pink against a gray, and you're like, are those 2 different colors?
Well, did they show up?
So, all right, very cool. So, what?
We have to name our unicorn.
Yes.
If anyone
has... wait, no, we need to have people name it for us.
Yeah, so if anyone has suggestions for our
the name of our
unicorn. So imagine it's got, and it'll have eyes and pink hair. That would be awesome. Yay! Anyway,
Yay.
It was really fun, and
then you have this project bag when you're done.
Exactly.
Yay. Okay. Looks like an alligator head.
I know.
The ears
I mean,
stuff.
so probably because the other one isn't. Well, it's a dinosaur head, so who knows?
Yeah.
Anyway, super fun.
So I have like a billion works in progress, but there's only two that I'm really working on. And so one of them is this is I've talked about this a million times. I think it's my favorite project bag for this size of project. It's Mr. Indigo bags, and it's one that my mom bought me for Christmas. I mean, my birthday, and she bought. It was a kit, and there was yarn that matched the coloring of the bag because it's this color and plus the blue inside color. But my current work in progress is just as ridiculous. I am making a cat. It's a shark costume for a cat. And the reason for that is that my friend Daniel, who is also the one who bought me the Crafty Bear t-shirt, his sister every year as a gift for their family makes a calendar where she dresses up their cat in costumes or does things with her cat. I come to find out it's not always the same thing. So, can I please have a drink of your water to get this nasty wine taste out of my mouth? Oh my god. This is what happens when I deviate from sweet tea. Okay, so anyway, I'm like, okay, well, so he thinks it's hilarious that I knit. Not in a mean way, not in a judgy way. He likes to be that way. Come to find out he used to work at Michael's, so I don't know what he's talking about. But anyway, he's like, oh my god, you have to knit something for the cat, for the calendar. And I'm like, he's like, can you do that? And I'm like, sure. Now, granted, I had no idea if I could do that, but I'm like, I'm going to show him up. If he's going to tease me about knitting, I'm going to be like, oh yeah, I can do that. I can totally do that. So now I have to actually do it. And I have to have it to him by Thanksgiving because it's, she'll do the calendar there shortly after.
So you should tell them the concept of the calendar, though.
It's not that. That's what it was last year.
Oh, no.
I don't know what she'll do with it. He doesn't know what she'll do with it.
Never mind.
So, this past year it was who wore it better, so she dressed her cat up in different costumes and then found a picture online of a human dressed in the same thing, like a cowboy outfit, or she took like a cat and dressed it up had like a slice of pizza costume, and then she like had a piece of pizza or something, like who wore it better. So anyway, yeah, so I'm like, oh yeah, I can do this, no problem. So then I'm like, oh crap. So I started like Googling shark costumes.
Cat.
Yeah, and like going all over Ravelry, and I just couldn't find something that I really, really liked. So then I'm like, well, I could take any old cat sweater pattern, and then put a shark fin on it. So that's what I'm ultimately doing. So I'll talk about all the details here. The pattern is the two patterns. So the sweater's called the Ultimate Cat Jumper, of course. And I think jumper, isn't that what people in
it's
England,
a British sweater.
British sweater call it a sweater.
Confusing. So I remember back when
for us a jumper is like
a little a sort of like
is
a
it like
girl's
overalls?
almost like a girl's overall dress. Is what I think about it as.
Okay.
So I remember being in a bar in London, and this guy's nice jumper. I'm like, what? And then I think he realized I was American. It's like that means sweater in England. But I was it's like, what kind of weird nice jumper? We're gonna jump. Anyway,
there's another term that I've heard people use for sweater. Jumper. I can't remember now. But anyway, what was I saying?
Cat jumper.
Cat jumper. Ultimate cat jumper. by Mandy Salento, I think.
Mhm.
And she is in the UK, I think. I haven't spent a lot of time researching her, or digging into, but she's got a blog, or had a blog, because this is from a couple of years ago, called Flood of Stitches. And I think she's Flood of Stitches on like Ravelry and stuff. So then the fin that I'm using is from the Shark Attack lap blanket, which I think is like a kid's lap blanket that you can like pull the shark with its teeth and everything over your body, so the like shark looks like it's eating you. But it had a really nice pointy fin on it that I liked. So that is that pattern's by Angie Hartley, who is number 4, a song on Ravelry and Etsy. But the cat jumper sweater is free, and then I paid for the lap blanket, which we might have to make for the twins or something like that.
Yeah, we can wait for Aviana, because otherwise the twins are 9. No, they're 10.
Oh, yeah, I forgot. They're going to be like 5 forever in my head.
Yeah, so we can make it for Aviana.
So I've got to get this done by Thanksgiving, so I'm going to be focusing on it a lot.
And
are you about to blow my agenda and like jump up to the knit along for,
isn't that seems like the natural transition?
That's not yet. I haven't talked about any of the details of the pattern.
Okay.
So the one thing about the pattern, the Ultimate Cat Jumper, is that what is so funny?
I like derailing you. It's super funny.
And everybody's like, "Why is Scott so scatterbrained?" Gaslighting. I don't know if you guys know what that means, or I mean, I guess that's a common thing that everybody knows. I don't know. Anyway,
it's
hilarious. He's gaslighting me. Sequence knitting. So I had never done sequence knitting or never heard of it, and actually I'm going to talk about we got the new issue of Rib magazine, and they have a section on rib sequence knitting, and sequence knitting is like it's a pattern and it's a repeat, but it's not, the repeat doesn't fit within the number of stitches. So each row that you do, it gets off by a certain number of stitches. So as you're knitting and as you're knitting and as you're knitting and as you're knitting, it creates a pattern in the fabric because you're off, however many stitches. So this one, the woman who did the pattern, she did a hat. I think she called it the hurricane hat, but this is the cat jumper. It's being knitted in the round, and it has a little rib that goes, this is where the cat's butt sticks out, and then you can see the pattern. Actually, that shows up really good. So I thought that was kind of cool looking. And then so I need to knit this up to right behind where the cat's front legs would be, and then you put in the leg holes and then you knit it up to the neck.
Sadly, there is not enough negative ease in the world to make that fit Linus.
No, our cat Linus, he's a little chunky. Yeah. So anyway, I'm knitting this on Chow Goose, my interchangeables. I don't even know what size it is, maybe 8s. Does it say on there? Yeah, it does say on there.
I think they're 8s because I was using the 9s for the
oh, that's right.
For the unicorn head. So
yeah, it's 6.5. Oh, actually, it's 10.5. It's 6.5 millimeters, US size 10.5.
Okay.
So the yarn, actually, so I went into Stephen B. A lot of you know who Stephen B. is. He's our local yarn shop, and I went in there, and he was in there the day we went in there, and I was like, he's like, "What are you guys shopping for?" And I was like, "A cat costume."
He's like, "Go upstairs to the bargain area."
Yeah, he's like, "Go upstairs to the bargain area," because it was very nice.
Cats don't care about how soft stuff is.
No, because this cat's gonna be wearing this for about 5 seconds. So I went up to what was he called? The bargain hall?
Bargain.
It used to be the bargain
loft,
but now it's a hallway. His shop used to be a fire station, and so it's this amazing building. Anyway, so I found this. No offense to anybody, but this hideously ugly yarn. It's like green-gray, and it's just not attractive. And it was on clearance.
But perfect for a shark costume.
And it's Cascade Yarns.
Made in Peru.
Made in Peru. And then it's 50% alpaca and 50% wool. So it's like amazing yarn.
Yeah.
But it's
I don't think the color's that bad. It just looks like sharp.
Color blind. I don't think you really know how ugly it is. You can't
It's
see
gray.
ugly. No, it's green. It's like ugly green gray, which is perfect for a shark costume.
Right.
So anyway, I did... The other thing about this woman's patterns, I think she has a lot of patterns, but I did not much of a swatch, but I did enough of a swatch to figure out what the gauge was going to be. And she's got this amazing way that she does the math so that you can translate it for the size of your cat. So it's like this number of stitches, and you multiply and carry the one or whatever. But it's a really easy knit. It's fun to knit. And it's gonna freak them out when I bring this cat costume. Oh, and the other thing is, I don't know if this is the yarn or the pattern or what, but it's super stretchy. So I don't have to be perfect with the size of the cat because it'll stretch a lot if it's too big or too small. So that's one of my current projects. And so now you're allowed to transition into the next.
So I was right as far as the overall order, just the when.
Yes, you were jumping ahead, dear. So go ahead. Well, the next topic is
knit along.
Okay, we're gonna do that together. Knit along. Oh, put your hand up. What are we calling it? Put it on your hand. Is that like a reference or something? Like, I don't understand that name.
I think we just thought it was funny.
Oh no, you told me what it was going to be. I didn't participate in the thing.
Put it on your hand.
Put it on your hand.
I think it's just something I thought was hilarious sounding.
Okay.
It sounds the same from Parks and Recreation that John Raffia would do.
Well, no, I think it reminds me of Portlandia when they say put a bird on it.
Oh.
They put a bird on everything. Okay. So, let's talk about the knit. So this is our knit along, our first knit along. This was inspired by, or prompted by Rick from Whimsy Stitches, who gave us our first gift, and then that was shortly followed thereafter by Missy from Minnesota. And we'll talk about their details in a minute. But the details of the knit along are that so it started on October 1st. It's gonna be a 2-month cowl. It'll end on November 30th.
Every time you say cowl, I think you're...
Cowl.
Cowl. It's very confusing.
Well, that's one of those words, and I'm sorry, I'm going to jump into pronunciation for a minute, because when people talk about that kind of stuff on their podcast, I'm super fascinated. I think this is different between you and me. So do you say this word and COWL? How do you pronounce those?
Cowl.
So how do you say that?
Cowl.
So you do say cowl and cowl. Okay, that's how I say it, is cowl and cowl.
Right, but I think it's because we're talking about knitting, and I don't... It's close enough to cowl.
Oh yeah, no, I know.
Yeah, it's not a weird pronunciation, but we're talking about knitting, and then you say cowl, and I'm like cowl?
I thought maybe you pronounced cowl as cowl.
No.
So, anyway.
It's just a context.
Sorry, that was a failure of something. It ended up not being interesting. Cowl as a knit along. And so hold your breath or something. Sit on your hands. So let me get through the details so that people don't scream at me. Started on October 1st, ends on November 30th. The works in progress are allowed. So if it's something that you'd started in the past and want to finish as part of this whip, or as part of this cowl, I totally am for that. It's anything that you can wear on your hand. That's why we're calling it put it on your hand. And what was the other thing? Oh, and it's going to be a random number generator. I did not expect the drama. It's not drama.
No, it's discussion.
I did not expect the discussion about how you pick your prize.
Yeah.
I was like, what? People care. People are, care about that. And I totally understand why people do. I mean, there are good points on both sides. It's just, it was not something a discussion I had ever heard, and I just thought it was funny. But it's a random number generator prize. So we're going to use a random number generator, and then we'll enter the number of
projects
projects, and then it'll pick a number between 1 and however many, and then it'll say 7, and then that number 7 is the winner. I guess there are some knit-alongs that are competitions, and it's like we pick whichever one we think is the coolest, which I was thinking about that, and I think in the future, like, that might be fun to do, but
I would like to do like a random and a...
Exactly.
Because
what I think I'm gonna do, what I would like to do is like, I'm bored with doing these scarves. I want a really cool scarf pattern. You know, so let's do a scarf knit along. And so then one prize would be a random number generator, and then the other prize would be, okay, the coolest one you can think of that is going to make me want to knit your pattern.
Yeah.
And,
and what's cool is, number one, people have already submitted objects, which blows my mind.
Like
there's
there's
like 27 finished objects right now, right?
The second day, like October 2nd, people had submitted.
So people are much more faster than we are. But they're awesome. Faster. Like, there are a couple.
Oh, yeah.
I'm just like, there's the one, there's like one's called like the Fruit Loop Glove, which looks impossible, but I want to do it. And then the Dalek Gloves.
Yeah, I wrote all these down because I wanted to talk about. So the Dalek, so for those of you, that's a Robin Hood. Doctor Who bad guy is the Dalek Gloves, and that's Joy Rider, who's Marianne from Germany. How cool is it there are people all over the world participating in our knit-along? Like, I didn't expect that. But anyway, Marianne, I don't know why I'm like, oh, the internet only works in the United States. But, or only people from, the United States can get this channel or something, I don't know.
Right.
Marianne from Germany, who's Joy Rider on Ravelry. But she had to rip them out because it was too tight.
I know.
So I hope she finishes them, or he or she. I'm sorry, I don't know if Marianne is a man or a woman, but I really want to do those.
I know. That was, and they looked because they had the bumps. Anyway, so hopefully they get done. Even if they don't get done, they were friggin' awesome to look at.
Well, the first ones that I noticed were convertible gloves, which were done. I've seen a couple that people have done, but the first one I saw was by Knit Addict New York, I think is the Ravelry, their Ravelry name. And it's, I forgot to write their real name down. Oh well.
People don't have real names anyway. It's just their Ravelry name.
But those are that's the thing where it's a fingerless knit, and then you knit the thing that comes over the top, which is perfect in Minnesota because it is freaking cold in the winter, and allows you to take it off to do things like use your phone and stuff. And then Little Bush Baby, who is Eileen from Scotland, has been doing some amazing colorwork gloves.
Yeah.
Which they were talking about, they showed the inside of it with all the stranded, the reverse side, and people were talking about it was like the entrails, the guts of the glove. So anyway, this
and
is
those
super
are just,
exciting.
Those are just the ones that sort of jump out of us right now from like, it's been really, really cool.
I haven't looked at all 27 of the finished objects. I keep meaning to. I've been going on the chatter thread more in case anybody has questions or whatever, and okay, time out. We have to discuss something. So, does anybody else hate's a strong word, dislike the way that Ravelry boards organize the conversation?
Well, because you can't do threads.
Right.
It's like we're back in like
the
GeoCities.
BBSs.
Yeah, where you have to reply into blank.
Ravelry is free.
Right.
It's an amazing resource. I really feel bad because I don't want to trash Ravelry, but I'm just like, I went through and I did, I Googled and like looked in their help, and maybe I'm just dumb and I don't. There's a setting you can set to make it so that it organizes. Yeah, if people know, or if other people are irritated by that, we need to start a letter writing campaign to our congresspersons and get this fixed. Okay, so congresspeople. So what was my point there? Oh yeah, okay, I have that. So Betty Ann just texted me. I have a really funny story to tell you. I don't think you've told you this story yet. So this knit along. I mean, I wasn't, when I started the podcast, I wasn't sure if we were going to do a knit along because I was not all the way into knitting and didn't really understand. But then, oh my gosh, I'm sorry. They bought the, we're getting a lot of text messages. Teresa and her husband bought the cat heads, those awful cat heads from Target.
Oh, the really creepy ones?
The really creepy ones.
Yeah.
The giant furry heads. Anyway.
Sorry, non sequitur.
Yeah. So, anyway, the idea of a knit-along was prompted by receiving gifts, donations, whatever you want to call it, from two makers. The first one was Rick, Whimsy Stitches. And I've shown this before in detail, but this is going to be one of our prizes. It's an awesome rainbow bag. It's a sock size. It's all plastic all the way around, and he sewed the plastic, which is very cool. The handle and a drawstring and all that. And then the other person is Linda Crouch, who's Missy from Minnesota on Instagram and Etsy. And she gave us 2 of these sweater-sized bags that are awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Nice zipper with a little fringy pull. I've shown these in details before, and it's almost like a
on the inside's really cool.
Kind of.
Yeah.
You can't really tell from here, but it's like a snakeskin pattern. And so I don't think I read Rick's note before, but I don't think I actually read Linda's note before. But she's in North Carolina. She must be from Minnesota originally. She's Missy from Minnesota on Instagram and Etsy. And she says, "Hi, Scott and John. Love your podcast. I'm a fairly new knitter, and I'm really enjoying your podcast. You are so right. I am from Minnesota and now live in North Carolina near the shore. Great location. No snow to speak of, but okay, hurricane coming this way. Yikes." So this was back earlier in the summer. I wanted to give you guys a couple of my newest bags, sweater-sized project bags. Hope you can find a project to fill it. They should look nice on the new ladder, which we've shown.
Oh my god, the new ladder has gotten a little crazy.
Out of control, yeah. My Etsy shop is Missy from Minnesota. And she says, "Best to you both, Linda Crouch." So the thing, kind of not small world. I mean, it's obvious how the connection was made. But when the retreat that we went to back at the end of September, beginning of October, which we'll talk about in a minute, Cody from the Cody Knits podcast was there, and Missy from Minnesota, Linda, had given him something as a gift, and in it she included a gift for my mom, for Betty Ann. So she actually gave my mom, she makes these, they're like triangle shapes and they have a snap. I need to buy some. They're cake holders, so not cake, but
right.
like yarn cakes. Yep. You put your yarn cake in them and then you pull from it and it holds it together. So anyway, we're one prize is this and the other prize is this. So we're really excited to give those out. So let's talk about the patterns. I'm going to do mine first because mine is way more awesome than yours, and I'm way farther along.
Lie.
Let me show you that. So I have everybody should remember from the previous episode I was going to do 2 sets of gloves or sets of handwear, and so this is how far I am. Sad trombone. That's all I've got. I've got the cast on. It's it's just a regular old cast on to do that. This is this is sad. I'm going to get at least a pair done, if not 2 pair, but I don't know what to say.
You've been working on your shawl.
I've been working on my shawl. Just to remind people, I'm doing the saplings mix, which I bought a kit during the yarn shop hop last spring. And oops, I don't want to give the. I always forget to. I've shown this before, but I just want to show this as a reminder. So, this is the what they'll look like.
What's the other color going to be?
Oh, so it's like buttermilk, and this is the green. That's going to be the green. It's called the sapling. So this is the background, and this is the green. So
those will be really pretty.
Yeah. So that's. Yeah.
You'll get it done. It'll be fun.
Oh yeah, it'll be fine. It's just funny that it's my knit along and I ain't done crap. Okay, now let's talk about John's is actually cool.
Yeah. So I had mentioned
I'm gonna get something to drink.
I'm doing this pattern by a local designer called Brawler Gloves. This is anyway. It's fun. I talked about this last time, and I was gonna do them in this alpaca yarn that I got. And it's beautiful, beautiful yarn, and I'll figure out something to do with it, but it was not an easy knit. And especially for my first pair of gloves, and then I'm doing it on magic loop too for the first time, it was just making me a little crazy. So
yeah, John has not done magic loop before.
But I am now, and I love it. Again, so this is how far I am, and I don't a lot further than Scott. So this is just the thing.
Cuff.
The cuff.
Michael Vlodman I think that's how you pronounce his name. He actually works at Stephen B. and he does some really cool designs. He's on Instagram and stuff.
And I forget what he's Michael Vlodman. So anyway, it's this is what I'm doing, and the colorway
I'm gonna hold it up so people can see it better.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
And so we were at Stephen B. and we found this yarn, and they have this yarn wall in Stephen B. It's called the Nerd Wall. And so I was like, looking at, and they have this, so it's all based on nerd stuff, right? And it's from a place called Wild Hair Fiber Studios, made specially for Stephen B. And this one is called, this is where you got the, Crazy Man in the blue box.
Yeah, the Doctor Who socks that I did, the blue from the police box.
Right.
Was part of this. It's a line that Stephen does that are called, I think he calls it Nerd Knits.
Nerd Knits. And this is called the Dark Side. And oh my god, I love the colors.
It's it's like red and orange and black.
Right.
And it's very much like the scene where, unfortunately it's from episode 3, I think, where what's his name falls into the lava or whatever. That's what it makes me think of.
It makes me think of the Imperial Guards from 3.
Yeah.
So it's I love it.
This is a Star Wars reference for those of you who don't know.
That's all right. So anyway, I really like it. It's coming along. And again, so my first magic loop, which is super fun, and magic loop is magical because I don't understand it, but it seems to work. So, and it's really easy and fun. The other thing which is kind of fun about this is my first time I actually did really pay attention to gauge on this project.
Oh, that's right.
So this calls for 3s. The pattern calls for 3s.
US 3s, which I don't know what the centimeter is.
I did that, and it was so this is actually on 1s. So that's kind of, I guess because I'm a loose knitter or whatever, it's done on 1s, and so that was kind of crazy.
This, if you think about this being your
my wrist,
it's gonna work.
It's gonna work. So that's exciting. So yeah, it's been fun.
And I'm sorry. Oh, these are mitts.
Yeah, these are mitts. So they go up they got 2-inch cuff, and then it goes up the hand, and they've got little tiny finger holes.
Oh, they do. So are they connected? Is it one big hole, or is it individual holes?
Individual holes for each finger.
Oh, that's cool.
That's gonna be.
See it again?
Yeah. I
didn't understand that. Oh, yeah, it is.
Yeah. I don't think they're very long. I think they go up to maybe the first knuckle.
Yeah. Yes, index finger, middle finger.
Yep.
Ring finger, pinky finger.
Yeah, so I'm very excited. I think it'll be very fun. And
okay, I'm sorry, time out.
Mm-hmm.
I have to ask our international people not in the United States, do other cultures call this your pinky finger? They probably don't all call it your pinky. Mm-hmm. Especially non-English speaker, like German or whatever. I'm curious what other...
Yeah.
They probably call it little, or... Because, I
so.
think in French they call fingers pieces of hand, pièces de main, which is like pieces of hand. Anyway, go ahead. Sorry.
So anyway, and there's a little... you can't see it very well, and you'll be able to see it more when we do... But there is a sort of cable that goes, up from sort of right here, and it goes up to your index finger and out. So that'll be kind of fun. It's like a little small cable. It's very fun. I like it. Now that the unicorn is done, this is kind of my priority.
Yes. And I think that, if people are crazy about, John and I are very much into, sci-fi and nerd stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And I think you can buy these different nerd knits from Stephen B's website.
Yes, and I think you can buy... So, I was looking at the colorway at work, so I think I was able to... I think I actually found... They're on the Stephen B site. It's the wild hair. What was it again?
Wild hair fiber.
Wild hair fibers, and you can buy these colorways from there, and they're all super fun. But it was like one of those things we were at the yarn store, and I saw that, and I'm like, I want to do that, which is always a good sign.
Yeah.
So.
Cool. So that'll be ending in about a month.
Yes.
And so I'm very excited to do the random number generator and all that stuff. It's going to be super fun. All right. So Betty Ann update. Just prepare yourself. Betty Ann's my mother, for those of you who don't know. And at some point in her life, she will be on the podcast whether she likes it or not. We have started...
We'll probably secretly film her.
She would murder us, but whatever. We've started a virtual knit night, which has been kind of fun. So we forgot last month. She forgot last month, so I don't feel bad.
No.
But basically we get on like Google Hangouts or whatever, and she wants to do it with like some friends of hers and me and like friends of ours that want to do it. Well, so far it's been me and Mom and John. The couple times we've done it. So so that's been fun. But we went on the retreat together, and that was hilarious. We'll talk about that in a minute. But we have to talk about the hard time that she's going through right now. It's really, really cold in Albany right now. So Mom lives in South Georgia, which is a state, for those of you that don't know, it's a state in the southern part of the United States, and it's just north of Florida. We were on the phone this morning, and I was telling her how it had been snowing all day yesterday. And it was about 31 this morning, and, I was just kind of surprised that it was that cold this early in the season, although I guess it's kind of normal. And she's like, yeah, I think I'm going to make some hot chocolate because it's actually getting cool here too, and I'm really excited about that. So I said, well, it's 31. What's the temperature there? And so she looked up on her phone, and it was 76 degrees outside. So cold. And so then she realized that it was like the air conditioner was on in the house, and so that's why she was so cold. So now her boyfriend, David, is like, oh my God, it's so cold. It's 76. I gotta make hot chocolate. So she just texted. She said now it's 66 there. It's gotten really cold. 66. So she can make her hot chocolate. So I asked her today what she's working on, and so she's making socks for my aunt Helen, her sister. I think she's doing like a vanilla sock with afterthought heels. She's doing those for her, and then she's also working on fingerless mitts for the knit along. She will not be entering in the knit along because she said that was either cheating or what's it called? Nepotism. So she wasn't going to put her stuff in. I'll have her post it.
You should explain random number generators to her.
Well, she was kidding. She was teasing. But she's doing the Knit Picks Simplice mitts is the pattern.
Okay.
And her yarn is Copper Corgi, which we'll talk about, is a local designer or an independent designer in Savannah, Georgia. And the colorway is Spanish Moss, which I thought I bought some of that because I just was obsessed with it. But it's I don't think I ended up buying it. But anyway, it's like a heather gray. So she's what?
I'm like it's a chiggers in it.
Yeah. So we have in Georgia, and I wonder if this is something that's unique to like the southeastern United States, if it's in other parts of the world.
I've never seen it anywhere.
It's called Spanish Moss, and it's this gray, it's curly, like noodles almost when you look at it up close, but it's this weird stuff that grows and hangs from the trees, and they call it Spanish Moss, and it has these little bugs in it called chiggers, which they're little red dots, and they get under your skin, and they're like parasites, and they're horrible.
Yeah.
And to get rid of them, you have to paint over them with fingernail polish.
Right. They're kind of like ticks, but
they don't swell up.
No, they just burrow.
They burrow, and we just went in a weird dark place. But anyway, so
but that's why you don't touch Spanish moss.
That's why you don't touch Spanish moss. But yeah, so that's what's going on with Betty Ann. I'm trying to think if there's any other news with her. She's she's finally gotten all of her health care stuff. She retired, and so she, in the United States, we have a really effed up, excuse my French, we have a really messed up healthcare system, in my opinion. And so I think everybody agrees that it's the way that we handle the financial aspects of healthcare is messed up. And so she's gotten all of her stuff organized so that she can now get her hip replacement. So that'll really make things better for her. So, okay, so let's talk. So now we're going to move on to talking about the retreat that we went on. So it was absolutely the greatest idea to go do this. So it's in the southern part it was in Thomasville, Georgia, in the southern part of the United States, in a town called Thomasville, which growing up, I'd never been to. I think maybe we played them in football, and so I was in the marching band, and so we might have gone to like a football game or something like that in Thomasville, but I never went to the town itself. And it was hosted by a store called the Fuzzy Goat. Cadence, who's the owner of the Fuzzy Goat. The store is beautiful. She just has the coolest collection of stuff, including the
unicorn head.
Unicorn head. But she bought the building that it's in. It's like a little strip mall is not the right word. It's a one-story brick long building on the street, and it's really a really old building. And then her store, one whole wall is exposed brick, and then she converted some of the. Was it the wooden shelving that was in there? Or no, she converted some wood that. Oh, it was the old flooring or something that she made some sliding doors out of, and then she had the floors redone, and then she found a skylight. I mean, I wanted to sit and talk with her more about the way that she redid the store. So we got there on Friday. No, so we flew in on Thursday. It's about a 2.5 hour flight from where we live to Georgia, to Atlanta.
Right.
And so we
flew into Atlanta, stayed the night in Atlanta, and then rented a car to drive down to Thomasville.
Yeah, and it's about a 4-hour drive from Atlanta to Thomasville. And so the cotton it was about time to harvest the cotton, which that's a big cotton growing part of the country, and so there's cotton fields everywhere, and that was really cool.
And we're doing back roads because there is no interstate between Atlanta and Thomasville.
Yeah, I mean, there's an interstate that goes down to that part of the state, but you have to get off pretty early. So we got there, and on our way, we were driving, like John said, in the middle of nowhere. And what happened?
So these are country roads, so there's a lot of roadkill on them. And which is fine. But with roadkill come turkey buzzards, which are huge. They're like monsters. They're so big. And so you'd be driving along,
and they're ugly.
Well, they're buzzards. I mean,
they're
not
black, and their feathers are black, and they have ugly red, featherless heads.
They're buzzards. They look like Skeksis.
They look like Skeksis.
So, and usually what happened, you'd be driving along, there'd be roadkill, there'd be buzzards on top of it, and they'd fly off. So that was kind of the...
And they're like... Vroom,
I know, they're
vroom,
huge thing. So we're driving along. I'm driving, I believe. Yeah, I'm driving.
Yeah.
And so you see roadkill about, I don't know, 50 yards ahead, driving, and one buzzard flies away.
We're like, the buzzard will move.
Yeah, the buzzard moved, and it just...
The buzzard will move.
I don't know if it was, like, really hungry.
It was particularly tasty raccoon.
Or it was touched, But we're driving and getting closer and closer, and the buzzard is not getting off the roadkill. And I'm like, it's to the point where I'm like freaking out a little bit. So
because it's not like it's a little bird or a bee or something that's gonna like hit the car and it's gonna be like, oops, it made a spot on the windshield.
No,
it could like crash or crack the windshield or something.
Right. I mean, this is
a rental car.
Right, and I don't think we got the full collision insurance either.
No, we didn't get the buzzard claws.
No, exactly. So we finally get to maybe like 10 feet away, and I sort of swerve, because I'm like, this is not going to happen. The buzzard finally takes off, and I swear to God, the wing clipped our car.
No, the thing bounced.
Yeah.
I mean, it glanced off the windshield.
Yeah, it was terrifying.
Yeah.
And like, so it flew away, and this like single feather was like billowing down the front of our windshield. I'm like, this is the most South Georgia thing that's ever happened to me.
Yes, and which is where I'm from.
Right. Oh, you're the most South Georgia things that ever happened to me.
Well, yes, that's true.
Anyway,
but I don't know what the most Kentucky thing is that's ever happened to me, but.
Yeah.
All right, so we got there and we stopped at a place called. We met Mom and Aunt Helen at a place called Sassy. It was SS. What was it?
It was
Sweet
in an old
and Sassy.
I don't remember. It was in the.
Gosh,
it was in a.
Drive me crazy.
It was in Train Depot.
It was an old train depot, and it was the Sweet and Sassy Sisters or something.
Something like that.
Triple S, or I don't remember what it was, but it was. I'm sure Betty Ann's screaming at the computer. Anyway, I can't remember. It was a really fun restaurant. We had a good time, and then we checked into the Paxton, which was the bed and breakfast where it was hosted. And so the agenda for that, well, it's this old Victorian, built in the 1880s, old Victorian home, and has, big wraparound porch. And we had gotten a suite, so it was 2 bedrooms, which were massively huge. Mm-hmm. And then, like, the bedroom that Mom and Aunt Helen stayed in had, like, a sitting area.
Right.
And then there was a hallway, and then there was a bathroom. So all this was, like, the suite that and you could close the door that all this was inside and lock it if you needed to or whatever. So it was the huge ceilings. It's just a beautiful, beautiful home. And I wish I'm going to feel bad. I'll put the information in the show notes, but the woman who owned it, she was so nice. She and her husband own it. And so they had a party. They called it a porch party and dinner. So it was basically cocktails and hors d'oeuvres and stuff and really good stuff. And then for dinner, they sat a really long table outside, and we all sat together and had dinner. And I just have to give the woman who came up with the dinner, that owned the Paxton, she in South Georgia, one of the delicacies is what they call green boiled peanuts, which are peanuts that are, I don't think they're quite ripe, and you take them and you harvest them and you boil them till they get soft, and then in a brine, and then you eat them, and they're so good. And people are like, oh my God, that sounds so disgusting and slimy and whatever, but they are so good. Anyway, they put the boiled peanuts in the salad that they made, which I thought that was the coolest idea. So, hang on, I've got my little list of things we were going to talk about. So we're sitting there, and Cody from the Cody Knits podcast, Nurse Cody, on, I think, Instagram. This was, for those of you who know the story, my mom had, I always say she bullied him into coming.
She did.
Well, like, this poor guy doesn't know us from Adam, and she's like, oh, you're going to come down because you live in the same state. You're going to come down and hang out with us during
He lives in Atlanta, and, like, that's not a short drive, right?
Well, it was a 4-hour drive, yeah.
Right. And he came, like, from work.
Yeah.
So
he's a nurse practitioner in oncology up there, and he drove down, and he made it for dinner. And so, like, he comes in, and like, people are like welcoming him, and I ran over and gave him a hug because I was like, oh my God, it's Cody. It was weird to see him in person because I've been watching his YouTube channel so much. So that was the first YouTuber we've ever met. So that was really, really fun. So we met Cody, and then, back to the agenda, I'm just reading off the agenda of the evening. So we had the dinner, and then there was a pattern that everybody was knitting while there. You didn't have to, but it was a shawl. It's called Waiting for Rain, and it's a really basic, I don't want to say basic, but it's a really easy pattern. It's garter stitch, and then with these inserted lace sections. So I'm going to show
the short row lace, yeah.
That's right, short row. So I'm going to put the pictures in, but it's a really nice pattern, and it's very modifiable. So you can make it bigger or smaller, and
with different colors, and
yeah, exactly. So Cadence introduced the pattern and talked about pointers and things like that, and So, and then it was like basically hanging out that evening and knitting in these massive rooms, and they had wine and drinks, and it was just awesome. And then the next day we got up and I think we just kind of did whatever for breakfast, but we, then they had the trunk show from Copper Corgi. So Copper Corgi is the, oh gosh, I've forgotten her name already. I feel bad. I'll put in her information in the show notes, but she brought 1 billion skeins of yarn and had a trunk show. Oh, we had walked down to get coffee.
Right.
In the cool little coffee shop in downtown, and the line was out the door, so we had to turn around and come back without coffee. I almost died. And then she had set up for the trunk show at that point. So, do you want to talk about the yarn that you brought?
Yeah.
Or you bought? So yeah.
This is going to blend into the, this is, so it's got the shawl we're doing, and so I have started the shawl. It's supposed to be a gift for my sister for Christmas. I don't know if it's going to get done. She might get a hat instead. Anyway, so we'll do the combination. So this is the yarn that I bought. It's called Out on the Tiles.
I'm gonna
put
really pretty.
I'm gonna put pictures in because
okay,
it's just easier.
So that's what I'm doing. So here's the shawl that I have. This is the shawl as much of the shawl that I have. So as you can see, it's coming along really quickly. I think it's supposed to go up to like 205 rows, or I don't know. Anyway, it's fun. It's just
totally making this up.
it's not going very quickly, but that's okay. I've got until Christmas, or Jennifer gets a hat,
or the following Christmas.
or the following Christmas. I'm in no rush. So that was the that was the yarn that I bought for the shawl, which was really.
And okay, so you were saying.
So this was the stuff that I got for my shawl, and it'll get done eventually.
So are you going to do one color?
Yeah, it's going to be all this one color. You know, and it's interesting because it's very.
I'm going to put in a picture.
It's
you don't have to hold it and stretch yourself out.
But so really, it's like one of those things that we're so. Good Lord! So she had like 5 tables with all this, and you'll see it's all gorgeously dyed. And so we're just going from table to table trying to decide what we want to do our...
Oh, I think I've got pictures, from the weekend. I'm going to put those in at the end of the podcast.
Yeah.
So you'll see pictures of the trunk show and pictures of the house.
Yeah, it was...
all that.
But yeah, it's the outside porch of this like Victorian mansion. And so this is the stuff that I bought for the shawl. So this is...
What was the color white?
It's called Out on the Tiles, and it is superwash merino.
It's her Savannah sock.
Yeah, Savannah sock. So, yeah, really, really pretty, and she was...
Oh, wait, her name, I think, is here, so I can stop embarrassing myself. Sarah.
Yeah,
Sarah
and she was there, and she was super fun to talk to.
Yeah, very, very
and she was, like, talking about, like, double dyeing and all this, like...
Oh, yeah, over-dyeing, yeah.
Really fun stuff.
I think one of the skeins I bought is over-dyed, which is really cool.
So that was the one that I got for the shawl, and then, let's see, what else did I get? I got... This is... it's called Nutmeg, and this is a worsted weight.
Mm-hmm.
And it's
wool, alpaca, and silk.
It's so pretty. I've got to figure out something amazing to make with that. And this is fig. So I was thinking putting these together on something.
Yeah. The fig has kind of let me hold it for a second.
Yeah, it's a little...
It has kind of a purpley, like a fig. It has it's brown, but it has kind of a purpley...
Yeah.
Sheen to it.
And this is Tea for One. It was...
What's funny is this reminds me of the color of the alpaca yarn that we bought at the state fair.
Yeah, and it was just, and this is the other one I got, which is...
this is the, like, Halloween...
Yeah, it's called Carolina Fiber Ghouls.
Yeah. So we'll Carolina Fiber Ghouls.
Yeah.
Special color for Socktober, I guess.
Right.
She did some kind of Socktober thing.
So yeah, it was a little crazy because all of her stuff was just so pretty, and it was difficult not buying everything.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel I showed great restraint.
Yes. Well, and some of the stuff I've got stacked over here, you might have actually bought. I don't know if you
No,
bought
because I put this all from my bag.
Oh,
So,
that's
and then there's the
right,
other
that's
stuff we
right.
bought at the store. So you should do the copper corgi stuff, and then we'll talk about what we bought at the store. So,
Yeah, see, I gets mixed up. I don't know
Well-
what I bought where. Cause
if it's because you bought some copper corgi at the store, didn't
Yeah,
you?
the-
We'll just put it all together.
yeah, the store. So the store that hosted Cadence's store is the Fuzzy Goat. It was within walking distance of the the Paxton where we stayed. So, and she gave us special. We shopped there before the retreat and after the retreat.
Right.
Before the retreat, we needed some needles and stuff,
Mhm.
and then John had to buy the unicorn.
Right.
But then after the retreat, normally normally the store is closed, but she left it open special for the retreat people so that we could.
And we took some
Yes.
pictures with her,
Oh yeah, we'll put those in
so
too.
you'll see. So
So let me talk about the different stuff that I bought. So
this is on the tiles too.
This is
So this is
hang on, let me do my yarn. So this is copper corgi. I'm just trying to get organized here.
that's copper corgi, and
I think this is Marina, or this is Malabrigo, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so. Alright, so. And this is the. Okay, so first of all, I don't think we mentioned that when we got to the Paxton, Cadence had put together project bags that, I don't know if she made these or not. They're Fuzzy Goat branded
Mhm.
project bags, but John got a blue one, I got this one. And then it had all kinds of little cute stuff in it, including it had, I think, that candle over there, which
Mhm.
smells super good. That candle, there was candles, and one of these things, these
Right, the
needle
needle
keepers,
holders, yeah.
the needle holders. If you guys have, people at the retreat were raving about these. They had not seen. I had seen these from my friend Sonia, but basically, it's hard to demonstrate.
yeah, I've got my needles in them.
Oh, okay.
So
Basically, there's a little rubber tip with a slit. It's basically a metal
yeah,
tube,
and so your needles just go
open on
like that.
both ends, and then on this end there's a rubber
Right.
slit. There's a rubber cap with a slit in it, and you just poke your needles in there,
Yeah.
and it keeps everything together. Anyway, so the first copper corgi stuff that I bought was oh, that's right. Okay, I'm remembering now. So I have.
Oh, that's right. You're doing two colors. for
Yes,
yours.
I'm doing two colors. So there was a guy that we met there who was also at the retreat. His name's Chris, and he really helped me with the color to pick because I really struggled with what colors to do. So I'm sorry, I'm finding all this stuff. Anyway, the little project bag, she had given us a candle and the needle holder and
She had bought the pattern for us.
yeah, and she printed out the pattern and there's something else that she gave us and I'm not remembering what it was. Anyway, so I bought this color, which is oh, that's something else. This is I forget what she called it, but it's one of a kind. It's a non-repeatable. I don't know. It's kind of like not experimenting, but like she was just trying different. She did different things, and that was one of them. And I'm sorry, I can't find the. There's a little term that she used for what that was called. And so it's beautiful. It's like a lather.
Is it not? This is it.
Yes, that's it.
Yeah.
Good catch. Thank you. One shot speckle pot. That's what she called it. And it's got kind of a lavender. It has a red, and then it has black, which sounds a little crazy, but it's really super cool. And it's got speckles and stuff. And then, so this is the same. This is it caked up. And so. Then I was like, well, I want to do, because you can put stripes in the garter and then have the inserted lace sections as a secondary color. And I wanted to do that. And so this one-shot speckle pot, I'm sorry, my yarn is all disastered. What the heck did I do?
It's just.
Ugh, okay, so anyway, this might be Spanish moss.
I think so. But if we didn't buy any others of it,
Yeah.
it looks like it.
Or is this even copper corgi? This might have been. Anyway, I'm not going to dwell on it. It's a dark charcoal gray, and so what I like about it is it pulls the black speckles out of this. It pulls it out when you use this, and this is very much a secondary color. But This is, I haven't started the lace section on mine, but you can see here I've got starting the stripes. So I really love this pattern. I'm excited to do it. And I love, love, love the yarn, the copper corgi yarn. So I bought that for this pattern. And then this was the one-shot speckle pot. Then this one is trampled underfoot, and it's kind of a silver, but it's got some green and gray in it. And so this is trampled underfoot. I liked that. And this is Moria.
Yeah.
This is her. So I should mention this is 100% merino. This one is Jones Street Sport Weight yarn. So Sport Weight's a little heavier than fingering, and it's Jones Street Sport in the Moria colorway. So this is more of a Sport Weight. And then this one is
On the Tiles, which is
Ogeechee Sport. This is also a Sport Weight, and this is out on Tiles. This is what John bought.
right, except it's a heavier. I got the sock weight on
You
the
got
Tiles.
the sock weight, okay,
Yeah.
and then I got the Sport Weight. Okay, cool. So, John was talking about we also got to go to the store, the Fuzzy Goat store. Did you buy other stuff there?
No,
I did.
I bought needles and the I bought needles, stitch markers, and the unicorn.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
So I bought one of the charcoal gray yarns. I bought some needles at the Fuzzy Goat, but then I bought a sock blank, which I've never bought a sock blank before. I'm super excited. So a sock blank is a piece of machine knitted yarn that is then colored, dyed, painted, whatever. And then you've got a loose end, and then you just unravel it and knit with it. And so I'm super excited. Jessica, Dye Monkey Yarns, I just can't get over how cool she's been doing some cool sock blanks. And so I'm excited. I need to go over there and buy one before they're all gone. They're probably already all gone now. But anyway, I'm excited to try this because this is 100 grams, I think. So it's enough for a pair of socks. So that's exciting. And it was funny because when we were, the last day, I had bought this on Friday, and then on Sunday when we were there, Cody bought this, not knowing I had bought it too. So we ended up picking the same color for that. The one thing I didn't mention is when we got there, the first day we got there, I have to say something nice about that again. I know it's gonna be like to do that, but she had made us awesome goodie bags. She bought us a collection of stuff. And Helen had made us one, Mom had made us one, and then Cody brought us stuff. And I'm like, I didn't get the memo about how we were supposed to bring gifts. So we were horrible people, but she got us digestives, which are like a cookie that they eat in the UK. They call them biscuits. And I think I heard the Bakery Bears talk about the fact that they do have cookies in England, but like cookies, like chocolate chip cookies, but biscuits are like less sweet than cookies. Anyway, the Bakery Bears did this thing where they were trying different biscuits, like on their podcast. They're knitting podcast, a very well-known knitting podcast in the UK, a man and wife. That's such a sexist thing to say, man and wife. A husband and wife.
Yeah.
A man and a woman who are married.
Or husband and woman, woman and husband. I mean, yeah, it's all good.
Yeah, so anyway, so she bought some digestive biscuits, which was really cool, and she bought us some yarn,
Right.
which, this is yours, right?
Yes.
So she had bought some Knit Picks Felici, and she gave us some Knit Picks. I got Slumber Party, and John got, it's like Jelly Bean or something.
Something like that. Jamboree.
Oh, Jamboree.
Jamboree.
So that's fun. So we'll use those to make socks. And then Helen had got us some wine.
Some wine and like Halloween stuff. She got us.
These fun. Oh, we should have been wearing a little headbands.
Yeah.
But then some other stuff that Mom got us was she got us these sock size. So there's basically a sock ruler. Nice wooden sock rulers. And then she got us. And then Aunt Helen got us these.
Because
And I don't think you can flop them, but she got us these to wear because it was like super hot in Georgia in October.
oh my god, I'd forgotten. It was so we were walking. We got coffee that morning, and this is like 9 o'clock in the morning, and we're walking around, and
Sweating profusely.
it is humid, hot.
So then the other thing, and then Helen had bought us some like organic bug spray just so
Right.
that because we're in the land
And
of
like a little
mosquitoes.
electric fan, and just
Well, yeah. This was the knitting related stuff I wanted to show. So this was so cool. This comes from, she got this from Megan Talitsky and Dan Hammerstrawn in British Columbia. Burning Impressions 2. So they made these knitting things. So this is so cool to me. This is you can't read it, I'm sure, but it's the instructions to do the Kitchener stitch, which I can never exactly remember it. So that's really nice. And then this is a gauge marker thing with the little holes in it. And then she gave us a bunch of stitch markers, progress keeper things, a skein of yarn, and what does this say? I love knitting.
Yep.
I love knitting. Oh, this is and then there's knitting needles with a ball of yarn, and
a
then
sweater,
a and a
scarf.
Yeah, so little keepers, and then I'll probably be putting pictures in over top of this or something when I do this. So then the other thing is that Cody gave us some yarn, and he gave us some project bags he made, which I think is super cool. So
Yes. There we go.
he made these. He's learning to sew, and he and his friend might open an Etsy shop, but Cody actually made these, and they're really cool. There's a ribbon it's like a drawstring ribbon, and then it's got a little plastic peekaboo window, and then so it's really really nice. And then and then he had, I don't know why he gave us the yarn. I feel
It's
kind of
pretty.
bad, but robot. It's got a little robot. There's a little robot progress keeper here, but it's Malabrigo. I don't know what size this is. It feels like a worsted, but it's Malabrigo Rios and Malabrigo. Maybe Rios is the colorway. No, the colorway is
because Rios is like, I have Rios stuff, and it's
one might be actually bulky. This might be bulky.
This
is worst. I think this might be bulky.
I think the colorway is Cereza.
Yeah, this is Cereza, and this is Polar Morn. So I think this is bulky. Anyway, it was just like, well, Cody, that's awfully nice of you. So, and we're like, here's nothing, just our friendship. That's all we got. So that was really cool. And then this is something I want to show. Oh, and I'm sorry, I bought this project bag at the Fuzzy Goat.
Oh, and I bought this project bag at the Fuzzy Goat, so people can think. I love it.
It looks like a lunch bag.
It looks like a lunch bag.
Actually, I'm sorry. I looked at the tag. It was intended as a lunch bag.
But it also makes people think that I'm a medic. So I feel like I can't take it in public, or people will want me to resuscitate people. And I took CPR a long time ago, and it changes. And
Zigzag Stitches is who made this bag. I don't know anything about Zigzag Stitches, but I bought it at the Fuzzy Goat.
I don't know who made this. It's nice.
It has a little pocket on the inside, and so that was cool. And then, and then Mom gave us. This is the project bag Mom gave me.
Yeah, so that's the one that I'm using
that
too.
He's using for his mitts, and then Mom bought me a Mickey Mouse.
Yeah.
It's got a little handle, and then who made this? This is made by Little Monkeys Stitch and Spin.
As is this one.
Yeah, so that's very cool. And then, so I wanted to show off this that my mom made me. So when I was growing up, this was like my favorite decoration that we had in our house. And the shoe fell off. It's what they call a bell pull, which I believe is I don't know, like would hang this on the end of a large bell and pull it or something. I don't know why it's called a bell pull.
I would assume.
Yeah, and then it's supposed to have a little bell at the end of it, but it's cross stitch. Mom did a lot of cross stitch, and it's
Oh, she make that?
yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that. I just thought she'd. Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, Merry Christmas and welcome to our home. The candles glow in windows to light the night. We deck the halls and trim the tree. Our hearth. Our hearth is ablaze to warm all who enter. The sweet and spicy aromas of Christmas till the house fill the house. Our gifts are from the heart and hands. So while we tarry here with us, we would. So while, oh, she forgot a U. No, while ye.
Oh my god. She's gonna be so mad at you.
I'm like, oh, she forgot to put a U on you. So while ye tarry here with us, we would have enjoy the blessings of a home, health, love, happiness. And it's got little pictures to go with all the words. And this was my favorite decoration growing up. Well, I think she lost it. The original. She just made this one. She went on, I think it was Etsy or eBay or something. And this was a kit from like 20 years ago or 30 years ago. And somebody was selling this kit still.
Oh, wow.
And so it's just, I love it. I
Cool.
love it. You can see it that way. I'll put in some better pictures, but oh my god, I can't believe I was like bidding and made a mistake. That's
There might be a
hilarious.
comment about that.
There might be a comment about that. Oh, and then also there were some pins the Naughty Nitwits Mom gave us. She got pins from that was one of our favorite podcasts. So yeah, so we had a blast. I mean, it was just so much fun, but it felt too short to me. No reflection on. I mean, it was what it had to be, which was a long weekend, or not even a long weekend. We got there Friday night and left on Sunday. Around noon, but I wish it could have been like a day or so longer.
It was really fun. Everyone's super nice.
Mm-hmm. Met a lot of really cool people.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah.
Yeah.
And then the last thing, there were a couple other things I wanted to talk about, if I can find my list. So first of all, I'm going to put in some stuff about this. I bought this book, Mom, Betty Ann, what's it called when you enabler that she is, she's like, here, check out this email I got, isn't this stuff cool? And then I end up buying something. So it's from Knitpicks and it's a book. There's a book and I don't know anything about the book. I'll put the information in the show notes, but it's Mary Knitmas. I want to knit everything in the damn book. I bought the electronic version, but there's these cool pillows. There's like a Santa pillow that's it's kind of a minimalist, and then there's like a little town. I want to make the pillows. I want to make the ornaments. I want to make everything in the damn book. So I got that, and so I strongly recommend it if people like to knit stuff for Christmas. Then I just want to mention we went to the men's knit night again at Stephen B, and so that's just so much fun. I'm glad they're doing it 2 times a month because that makes it a little easier to get to. And then we found out that every Thursday they have nerd knit night.
Yeah.
Which is like they show a movie or something like that, and then so that's even more opportunities to go and hang out and stuff like that. So yeah, so thanks to Mark who
organizes that.
Well, I think Sean and Jeffrey and Mark all kind of they're all admins.
Oh, Mark invited us.
But Mark's the one who walked up to us and was like, "Oh, I know you guys. You're the Sweet Tea No Shade podcast," and made us go. Oh, and then the last thing I was going to mention was that if you haven't gotten your issue of Rig magazine, oh my God, I want to knit just like every year. This is the 3rd issue of all time. Like this is a new thing. It's patterns for men and it's people who knit for men, I think is how they word it or something. But I want to knit everything in the book. They've got a really cool section about sequence knitting, and they talk about and they have a hat that's got kind of like it creates like a spiral swirly pattern on it because of the sequence knitting, and they have a cool sock pattern and sweaters, scarves. It's really great magazine. So All right, so next time, we will. Hopefully, I'd like to do one before the.
Yeah, we should do them before Thanksgiving, and then
Yeah. Well, no, we. Yes, one before Thanksgiving, and then one to do the
knit
knit-along
yeah.
announcement. Yeah.
Yep.
So. All right. Well, thank you everybody for
Thank
this.
you.
Is going to be a long one. It's
I
going to
know
be like,
we have a lot of well, this is what happens. This is why we wanted to do one right when we got back from the Fuzzy Go,
Yeah.
and then we just kept. Yeah. Anyway, it happens.
Thank you so much for watching, and we will be back soon.
All right.
Bye.
Bye.